actually distill and mencari clarity of the idea. Macam how do you distill it in a manner yang benda tu concise and clear, that people can read it quite matter of factly, or macam they can read it in multiple layers. And then decide which medium to respond with, either visuals, writings, or models, and disseminate. Disseminate is important because we realize that the things that we do, they need to be shared, which means disseminate lah, to actually to show to other places, either media ataupun print publication ke. So it's important to get your things out there, because there's no point in doing good things but no one knows about it. So this is basically operating system kita orang. We don't have a manifesto, tapi kita orang ada macam basically macam what we're aligned to lah. So you shall treat projects of all scales as equally important. So humorous, not funny. Banality and complexity goes hand in hand. Taste, not style. The message is the medium. The enthusiastic amateur always trumps the pessimistic professional. So think homage and not knockoff. So tapi a knockoff is also good lah. Input 10%, output 110%. Alternate now, not utopia. So what's next for us? Nadhrah, you wanna?
Yeah, what's next for us? Okay. Hold on. I just wanted to add on before on some of those points of how we work on the distilling part, that clarity of idea part. Sometimes I think one of the things that I think as every designer will go through is actually because when you have like a concept or an idea that you want to develop and stuff, sometimes you think like, where do I work until it's done? Like, when do I know it's finished or stuff like that? When do you know, like, when do you stop? You know, sometimes, and actually the answer is, I think in our experience is actually sometimes that you have to work up to it, where sometimes it doesn't have to be fully worked out. Sometimes you can leave it to a point where it can be some speculative. You can leave it to a point where it's enough that people can interpret different things or speculate a different kind of future to it or something like that. So meaning to say that sometimes works in progress are okay, but you have to try and inject your most important points and ideas into however you presented your models, your drawings, or visuals, or whatever it is. Like, as long as you look at it and do you think like, you know, they're getting my message or whatever, what's the edge? Are they getting my edge to this project and stuff like that? But anyway, so what's next for 2021? Actually, I think we have like 2 collaborations this year, which are very quite different to what we do. So we're quite happy with it because one is more into the fashion industry. So, and the second one is more into something very new, a new kind of, we do think it will have to do with our curation and stuff like that, and doing what we love, which is to work with objects and stuff. So that's another thing, and we're quite excited for it. And another thing is to figure out our business model, because after 5 years, we actually don't make a lot of money, to be honest. So we're trying to find out, like, now after 5 years of working and knowing how we are with our practice and what kinds of work, I think, and like, you know, our experiences in Malaysia and, you know, into the art, into our collaborations, like how can we make our no-to-scale practice as a financially feasible model to go into the future, you know? Because we do know that we don't define ourselves as like a normal architecture studio and stuff like that. And we don't think that we will be practicing as a normal one in Malaysia, in a sense. We might still do it, but you know, like that's not our main kind of thing. Yeah, and I don't know, I think more collaborations and yeah, trying to engage ourselves with the community more into talks and stuff like that. And yeah, not sure anything you want to add on, Sam? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, after this, basically we're opening up to you guys question. So macam, if you guys want to ask us direct, please do to me. Macam, if not, macam maybe the organizers could provide us some questions from the audience. Okay?
No.
So, yeah, so macam some final last words, maybe macam we have media presence on social media and then website. Please please, if you want to know more, read more on what we do, please visit us at no2scale.com ataupun our Instagram no2scale. And then macam we also have a web shop. Sorry, this is a shameless plug. But
Shameless plug, yeah.
tapi kalau korang nak beli macam our prints, our artworks or the illustration in terms of postcard, please do. Yeah, we have a discount for you guys. NTS Checkmate, so 50% of everything. So I mean, if you like what we do, just please support us. I mean, we're also trying to live basically. Yeah, I mean, thank you for supporting us. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to discuss and share these things about you guys. And no, I really want to have a discussion with the audience in terms of what you feel, how we work, how relevant is it that we're doing this thing in in Malaysia. So please feel free to ask anything. Thank you to either me or Nadhrah. So yeah, please.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello, hi. Hi, Nadhrah and
Hello.
I'd like to question.
Yeah, can.
So macam masa awal-awal you guys punya practice, you guys moving towards macam architecture punya scheme, and then now to macam art sikit, and then I wonder macam what is the next step, macam apa yang no2scale akan jadi after that. Macam sebab macam maybe RAM kelas, so dia ke architecture urban, and then dia move to countryside. Then I wonder macam no2scale punya journey macam mana pula. I think that's all. Thank you.
Thanks for the question. Tapi I rasa macam if you're related to RAM, that's macam to the countryside. Itu actually his interest in his research lah. So I don't think macam that can be macam relatable to us. But macam if you're saying where can we go from here, macam we obviously want to build, we obviously want to do macam spatial interiors ke ataupun move on bigger to architecture. Tapi in keeping the issues, if you're saying about issues, the issues is things related to the environment, but we have a core, we have maybe a core interest maybe in sustainability, not sustainability in terms of green buildings, tapi macam material usage, circular design, how you are able to guna pakai a certain material to melt down again plastic to create other products. So where we have certain interest in terms of the scope of things that no2scale is interested in. Yeah, but we definitely go to architecture somewhere in the future. But we're not saying that it's not the sole way of practicing to get money. There's other ways to get commissions actually.
I see. Maybe you guys can moving towards research based.
Sorry?
Maybe you guys boleh ke research based.
I mean, we wouldn't say apa yang kita buat ni academic research. It's more like you could say a bit of an applied research lah. It's not the level of academia definitely, but in a way it's trying to pick on macam things from research such as macam inquiry, and then macam resourcing, and then trying to apply that in a more visual or manner to whatever medium that we have to come up with.
I rasa what we do is more of like it's still research in a sense, but it's more of a design research, and which can, well, maybe by definition in Malaysia it is not the academic research yet here, but overseas actually in the UK, where because I've been to some of the school exhibitions in universities that they do have PhD in design. And what you do is, it's the same format as like, you have the Viva interview and stuff like that, but they're part of their research they have to do is they have to apply that design, their design question, and they have to do something about it. You have to act as designers. So I think that's what no2scale has been doing a lot, is that we've been responding to issues by acting as designers, not just as a solution of like saying, okay, you have to build or stuff like that. So hence, the product that we create, like videos, visuals, exhibitions, that is a form of like product of a design research in a sense, or ongoing into themes and topics yang kita minat lah, or we have, although like maybe we cannot like engage it in a format, like a bigger scale of like town or city or something yet, but we try to do it. That's why we try to do it small first, like an object or exhibition and stuff like that. And we would like to hope that these things matter, and that's why we choose to disseminate and post and create conversation with younger people, because maybe sometimes the bigger scale tu orang tak boleh nak, you know, connect and faham, or I don't know, it seems like out of your reach because of its larger scale. So yeah.
Thank you very much.
Are there any other questions?
Yeah.
Uh,
Tanya je. Anything goes, just tanya je.
may I ask a question?
Yeah.
So, having studied in both overseas and also in Malaysia, could you give like maybe in your opinion, how, what's the difference of studying overseas and in Malaysia, and maybe how the architecture education in Malaysia can be improved?
That's a hard question to answer.
Yeah, because it involves a lot of parties being sort of like in a very same plane. But if you want to know the differences, I think I would say that I think it has to do with like, okay, if we stand back and look at it like as a program course, over there they kind of structure, okay, they understand that because they have like part 1, part 2 with their rebus system, right? Because our LAMP system follows the rebus system the same way. So for them, they've structured like, contoh our masters. We have 2 years in masters. So the first year too, we actually do a project to fulfill the criteria of getting part 2, which is that you have to do a technical report. So a technical report is actually to do a report on our design project to show how do you realize this as a building. It doesn't have to be like super realistic and stuff like that. Like, so it wasn't the same as like macam sini, like you have a requirement of like plan, section, and elevation, but it was more of like, if that project was real, macam you dibagi brief tu, you ada client tu, how would you do it from start to finish? What is your system of like contract, apa, dia macam, you have to do a bit of reading, so you kind of get a taste of every stage of like, of the construction stage lah, and then that was the report. So first year was like that, but we also did our design, not to say that our design was so technical, stuff like that, because I think they believe that it shouldn't deviate just because of the nature of how conceptual your project might be, that it can't be, you know, if you imagine for it to be realized in real life, how would it be? Because you can still think about that. So yeah, our first year had to fulfill that part. And then second year, actually that's where they push to macam for like, it's 100% design, like 100% your design and thesis. So you gonna carry out benda tu lah. And yeah, I would say that they really train you to be quite independent designers, because the style of them, they give you an open brief. So differences are that, I guess. So it's not like, say, you have to make a museum or orphanage. It depends on how you choose to investigate their brief. The brief, from there, what is your interest? And that's where I think it's very successful in making you independent, because for us, because it was a shock for us, it wasn't easy, okay? So not to say that macam, like we went in and we were fine, no, we struggled for the first year. But even for Sam, who was in the Bartlett before, he also struggled. So only by second year, I think we were okay, because like after that, because the first year too, we really macam, you know, we talked to our friends, our like local, because even the locals also are doing struggle. So yeah, but yeah, because you had to respond to your own brief, it was your own project, solely you. It's your responsibility. How do you present this project well? You know, how do you develop it and whatever? How do you explore this issue of yours and stuff like that? How Malaysia architecture and education will improve? I'm not sure how to answer that.
I mean,
Maybe.
I can't say about changing the academic landscape. I think that's a way more complex topic that we can actually address, because it's not it's a lot of stakeholders involved in trying to change academic landscape. It's not a simple thing lah. So macam apa yang I boleh cakap in terms of macam where my UiTM education has been beneficial is that in actually macam it gives you resiliency, you know. Macam I thought, that's what I think lah in terms of UiTM punya education, and it provides students with a sense of resiliency. Maksudnya macam you are hardened to a point yang macam you campak ke mana-mana, you are resourceful. So I think that's quite good lah in terms of macam where you go anywhere, you are quite macam kau dah biasa dengan having, you know, like macam you are used to macam resourcing your things on your own. So macam you do become independent, but it's just that macam maybe you get lost you might get lost in an overseas school because there are a lot of different macam units which specialize in certain macam ideologies lah. Macam you might have a unit yang macam more material oriented ke, atau more surreal techno oriented. So macam it's a lot of topics. So macam I think macam in terms of just local students what students macam as students, what you can do is to actually macam build your interest tau. Build your interest from now to know what you guys like. Macam kalau korang pergi master, korang tahu apa yang korang suka. Bukannya macam time tu juga korang nak figure out macam tak tahu nak apa, aku cuba ni, aku cuba tak ke mana. Tapi for now, you guys patutnya as architecture independent students you guys patutnya ada interest. You guys, what are you interested in? Macam be informed with things that's happening with the world, be informed with issues. Tahu benda-benda yang is happening, macam and then be macam critical about it lah. Be critical about macam, don't just take things for granted. Macam if everyone's doing green building, everyone's doing green building. Macam you're not questioning why are we greening up things in the first place. So macam it's really up to you guys untuk build up minat masing-masing kepada apa yang that would help actually. Even if you study macam locally, korang grad locally, if you go into the industry with a certain interest in a certain aspect, whether it's parametric, that would help a lot. But I feel like macam you guys need to know what you guys are interested in. You cannot be just macam, there's architecture is wide. There's a lot of things architecture. You cannot just say there's only one way of doing architecture. There's a diverse way of working within architecture. There's like there's beam modeling, there's macam facade specialists, there's design strategies, there's macam procurement, design procurement. Macam you have to know, you have to have an interest in something for you to go the next step. I mean, education is important, but as much as education is important, is actually how you make yourself relevant after your degree or after your masters. Itu je. Because most of the time, macam macam a lot of younger people go into the industry without knowing where they're headed. Macam of course you get lost, but you have to know where to start searching. You have to find that lah.
Yeah, so to add on to that, actually hari tu I forgot what was that. There was a new book coming out on the architects post-architecture by Harris.
So architects after architecture.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, so I attended dia punya Zoom talk for like the preview of the book, and like she was talking about, because she's interested in that, because in the data of the UK graduates, about like, she said like 60% of architecture graduates are actually not practicing architecture. So even for them, it's the same sort of issues that we have here, like, you know, like why, so she's questioning why are all these architecture graduates going out, and what is the, you know, what is the potentials in that. And in the book, like she's like, you know, dia tunjuk like contoh-contoh of like these architecture graduates are doing other things, and you know, its relationship to that lah. And basically like she talks about the afterlife of architecture, and she's saying that like actually we don't realize that our architecture degree is actually powerful, and we're not acknowledging it that well sebenarnya, because what we have actually is our spatial knowledge. It's not about building, it's spatial. It's your spatial senses or awareness that you have. And And all these people that left, the reason why they actually left is because like some of them like maybe just don't agree about building. They don't want to do more environmental destruction. It's just their position. They just don't want that. So they choose to use that spatial thing to do other things. And some of them maybe just say that it's not fast enough. It's not fast. And sometimes it's not the right solution. So some of them go into installation because they can speak about the message that they want because it's a faster sort of thing, output in a way. And yeah, and even if you wanted to still be in the construction industry, that you have to acknowledge that as an architect, like what you are not just in charge of building buildings, that you have to know like every step, like if you want to be like more in depth, like what is your liability to that building, you know, is our construction process more sustainable? Macam tu lah, like so there's so many ways of branches of architecture that you can actually go into in a sense that way.
And it doesn't mean that macam you guys stop belajar degree ke master, that you stop learning, you know. Macam actually the real learning is when you step into the office for the first time and you'll be learning until you bersara lah kot basically. So macam the knowledge that you have is actually quite important. Tak kisahlah you belajar mana lah, macam I think learning anywhere in the world is quite irrelevant now because everyone has the same resources lah. Tapi basically you guys have to be resourceful. You guys have to have you have to be ambitious. You guys have to have macam a drive lah to go forward within this industry because it's a tough industry. Tapi if you're persistent with it, you can go somewhere. Any other question? Thank you for that.
Hi, Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
How are you guys?
We're good.
Selamat malam.
Well, anyway, I really enjoyed the session just now, and I think on behalf of everyone, we appreciate you both being here and sharing. But I have something that I'm quite curious about, especially coming from you both who are like, you know, we call like the, I don't know, alpha generation probably in the architectural artist practice. So what do you think about apprenticeship, and are you planning on taking on one or two in the near future? You know, just to keep the tradition going.
I think we believe in internship. Macam a lot of people inquire, tapi it's just that we don't know how to macam get people on board for internships lah. Tapi macam I'm actually macam personally lah, I'm interested in how can I scale up the process of apprenticeship. Macam I like teaching. I like to share lah basically about what is happening with what knowledge I have and what little experience I have. Tapi macam with technology, I'm always thinking macam how do I scale up, trying to get more people on board to apprentice. I think that's something yang macam, because we're limiting ourselves to maybe macam one intern physical bayar 500. Tapi isn't that a way in this day and age that I can reach out and like apprentice like one class 20 as a practice, and then you macam the trade-off may be money, it may be something else, I don't know. Tapi macam I'm interested in that scalability of teaching somehow, because that's what you guys are doing. Tapi macam how do practices do it? Especially macam you see macam everyone wants to work with Kevin Maklo kan. But Maklo doesn't take anyone.
That is true, but he's being sought after anyway.
Tapi macam why not he apprentice someone juga? Macam he should be the one to pay it forward and then teach younger guys, right? Tapi macam I'm just thinking of macam how can people who want to teach, macam contoh a good example is non-school lah. Macam Hazazi is doing non-school. If you guys haven't heard of it, so non-school is an online platform for short courses with architects and designers lah. Contoh macam Sound-in, AR Sound-in kan. So macam it's interesting yang macam this model exists. So maybe that's a form of apprenticeship that is interesting lah, I think. To me lah, I don't know, Nadhrah.
Well, I was just gonna say that we would, I think, yeah, I mean, I feel really bad Like I feel really bad every time when I see like an email in our Gmail coming in for this because or internship or stuff like that. Because one, of course, like by right, if we were to take like by definition intern, like we actually don't have the funds to pay, and we do want to pay our interns because we do believe that interns should be paid well and stuff like that. So but yeah, that idea actually I've also some like of those thoughts as well, like, but I guess in a format right now it's really undefined. I've always thought of like probably a summer workshop, but I'm not sure whether that would be effective or in a way. I think this is what we, I think it's like just thinking how to design on how we impart, in a very efficient manner. So I think, that could be something that me and Sam think about for 2021 going forward.
I don't know if that answers it, Tini, sorry.
Yeah, itulah.
It's you are just opening up the path for me to segue into a position, but
Okay.
I'll PM to P both of you.
Baik.
With some, it's gonna be like a collaborative project between our alumni. So I'm trying to pull people together. Sorry, everyone. I'm because it's interesting to see like how because we've always, when we say internship, it's always like for, at least in our institutional as institutional program, it's always for like you get credit hours, and then paid or non-paid, and there's a certain criteria that even the school has to like abide by. But I think we would really like to shift into something that is a bit more dynamic, which doesn't necessarily translate into, okay, a certain number of weeks equals a certain number of credit hours, but what we want is like a bit more of that exchange of contents, like both ways. But yeah, I'll PM to both of you, inshallah.
Boleh.
Guys, yeah, that's all from me. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right. So more questions? We have like another half an hour or something.
Live questions. What do you want to do after this?
Anything, yeah. Or how did you, whatever, what do you use? I don't know, things like that. People always ask us that, tools of trade or whatever.
Betul?
Hi.
Hi.
I'm a big fan. And this actually is for relating to your works. I can see that most of your works touches on architectural or built environment issues, such as the PPR project. We can say that what's good about all of this is that you try to touch the issue, and you give your wide audience the kesedaran or awareness on it. So I just want to ask you guys if your intention of doing these works is to provide more questions towards that particular issue or actually to solve it.
Betul, itu soalan yang bagus.
Thank you.
So, with certain things, kadang-kadang betul lah, kadang-kadang we try to posit more questions sebab solutions, I think Malaysians kan, that it's easy to find solutions, I think, tapi it's harder to ask the right questions that leads you to a better solution. Sebab macam we're not short, kita kat Malaysia ni, kita tak short of designers, we're not short of talented people, for sure kita tak short of talent. Tapi the thing is macam no one is questioning how to do things differently, how to look things at a different angle so that the solution could be more better or more efficient ke. So we're opening up a dialogue for questioning, but and then macam if it's to designers, kalau of course lah orang tengok macam apa benda diorang ni kan, bukan je bagi solution, tapi kalau korang boleh buat solution, buatlah. So tapi macam faham tak, macam if you are in the position to create solutions, then do it. Macam we are in the we dengan apa platform yang kita ada, we were given the position to question, to lay it out for a general mass. Then that's the position lah. Tapi macam if you are in the position, contoh you kerja dengan JKR, you have the ability to actually do things better for these accommodations, then by all means please do it.
So we can say that actually untuk maybe I can say startup artists or architects, we are actually limited lah kan if we try to bawa isu ni, these particular issues, right?
Of course. Dia kena macam kita orang pun sedar benda tu bukannya macam dia punya macam goal in itself lah. Takkanlah kerja provoke je kan. That doesn't make sense. Betul lah. Yeah. Tapi macam if you realize architects such as macam Rem Koolhaas ke ataupun Zahadi, and earlier on in their career they question things, they question issues which later they try to solve within their career. So you cannot say yang macam your interest now is you're trying to understand the issue, you're questioning it. Tapi you never know, benda tu dia akan linger dalam otak you, and then within your career later on, or whoever is inspired, yang dia akan solve benda tu. Sebab maybe for the first time they encountered issue tu. So we cannot say it's a short game, it's a long game, it's a long period that we're dealing with in terms of buildings, in terms of architecture. It's not like it's like macam passing baton, marathon, you pass baton, it's like that lah. It's not like macam benda yang macam you can change immediately. But the first step is to ask the right questions.
I see.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
A good question. Ada soalan lagi?
Were there any questions that you had reserved or anything?
Ini jadi soalan.
Hello.
Wait, this one.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Speakers. My name is Faiz. I wanted to ask a question
Okay.
to you guys. So I've been doing a lot of readings about social awareness and social issue that is going on quite lately, and the thing is pasal macam doing arts in our own society practice is kind of difficult sebab tak semua orang senang nak interpret art dan tak semua orang senang nak terima art.
Betul.
Was it a really like rough journey at first untuk you guys interpretkan social issues ataupun nak cuba kasih saya cakap pendarahan dan juga exposure untuk society kita at first sebab macam me personally sebab I've been involved a lot with a lot of volunteers before this, and there's always a social issue ataupun a problem yang arise kan this such movement happen. Tapi when we wanted to share with the community, sometimes it's just hard to nak kasi dia orang faham at first. We ended up giving them lengthy explanation just to get their attention. So is there any other way yang we as an architecture student who are socially involved with society untuk use our skill to approach benda ni, especially in dalam Malaysia context lah?
I think sometimes in some cases that you know, like, okay, when you get to society, sometimes you can think of it as like a difficult client or something. Sometimes you have to present your work in a way that that they may understand. You might have to dampen down a bit, but it doesn't mean that you have to like discount your design or something like that, or your solution to get them to understand. Sam?
I might add to Nadhrah, maybe I get a point I think we do things apa yang kita mampu lah within the limited power and responsibility yang kita ada. Kita tak boleh nak meyakinkan orang, bukan kita yang bagi hidayah, betul tak? Tapi basically tapi basically you guys have to galvanize, still have persistence in delivering a message, find the right group untuk connect with, and basically have the drive consistent lah of delivering that same message. And then along the way kan korang akan jumpa solution of how to bukan meyakinkan orang, tapi of how to solve certain societal issues within the capacity that you have. Whether you buat group discussion dengan authority ke, dengan or you are leading something, you are leading a group of a neighborhood community to do something. Tapi benda tu macam it's not instant. We have to realise that the change might not happen within our lifetime. Benda tu benda tu tak possible. Tapi we do our best as architects. That's what architects are lah kan. We're future oriented. But then the changes that we do, we don't see sometimes. Macam we're talking about buildings which last macam more than 60 years, and we're not sometimes we're not there when the change happens pun. So macam it's about having macam a community that you can surround yourself with to hopefully bawa agenda tu ke tempat yang macam ada solution lah. I don't know if that helps lah. Yeah.
I guess the key point is persistent, I guess, to be persistent. And yeah, I mean, just because you end up in like a dead end too, macam don't stop lah. Because I'm pretty sure like even if it like you can't solve it now, maybe it's like Sam says, it's along the way in a different way, or even you solve it sikit je pun. I mean, you have, let's like be grateful for that lah, because knowing the difficulty of some of our Malaysian contexts sometimes to bring some ideas forward, but slowly and steady,
Yeah. Thank you, Faiz, for the question.
All right, thank you so much.
Right.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, I'm Hazwan from BSc 07. I'm quite interested from your slide just now. You mentioned about the third point, which is how we decide the best way to represent our thoughts or ideas to the public. So could you elaborate more? Yeah.
Kau ambil notes bagus.
Okay. Maybe can you elaborate more on that? Like, what are the process that you went through to decide what are the best methods to represent your ideas to the public? Maybe the side of inspiration ke?
Is this the distill part? Yang distill tu?
Yeah, the distill.
It really how we decide to go with our medium. That's basically the question lah kan?
It depends for me it depends on a few factors. I think we decide based on what platform it is. So macam what platform? So is it in a gallery? Is it in a mall? Is it a building? Is it an interior space? That is the parameter for the medium. So then you decide. So if it's a gallery, should it be writing? Should it be a painting or a visual macam collage ke? Or should it be a 3D thing? Do you want it to be spatial? So macam as architecture students, korang tahu banyak medium tau. Tapi it's really about what is the best message with that medium. So macam if you're talking about something spatial, a writing won't be enough, and a render won't be enough. So it has to be the real thing. So it has to be an installation or interior design, interior space lah. So macam if you're talking about something much bigger, so you want to talk about space in PPR, tapi you can't just show on photographs. That medium won't work when you're trying to explain about macam the spatial aspects of flat PPR. So it has to be a space you can go into. So it might be macam in the case of the balai work, it's a macam enclosure lah that you can go into. So it really depends on communication punya outcome yang you nak.
Yeah. Sometimes it's also like what you thought as your idea, or sometimes it's, I don't know, for me personally, sometimes it's just some medium that I would like to ask for both of us to test, or something new as well. Maybe if I think of like what we've talked about or stuff like that, macam maybe we can select this or try this. It was just like the recycled plastic thing. Maybe that was something, and we related it to our Malaysia being the dump site for plastics of other overseas countries. That's an issue that quite like no one didn't even know until it came out in the Star and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean
cari medium yang you're most comfortable with. Maybe
yes.
But know what is the limitation of that medium.
Yes.
Itu important lah, to know the limitation of that particular medium.
And even if it's limited, how do you still make it feel quite good? even though you're limited, like by limit it can be just because of like maybe client tak suka or like your budget or whatever. Will like just because you have a low budget doesn't mean you can't do good work. I believe in that. Like
Yeah, betul. Sebab an architect once told me there's no excuse for bad detail, even if you have no money.
yeah, that's true.
So thank you Azwan. Good question.
Thank you.
So anything else? Anything macam yang macam kalau tak serius pun kita ada masa sikit.
Finishing our time. I don't know, software ke, I don't know. What do we do in our masters ke?
Tapi thank you lah, macam I think it's nice seeing you guys engage lah. I think macam we know that macam a lot of you guys are interested macam in a lot of stuff, and sometimes we understand yang macam tak ada tempat untuk you guys refer, tak ada orang untuk you macam bertanya kan. So macam as much as possible we want to become like a resource lah. Macam if we have the time now, macam you might as well ask. Kalau tak you can DM macam later, you can email us ke, yeah, no worries.
Yeah.
The organizer is semester 4, sorry, for the
Semester 4.
semester 4. Okay, all right. Good job on trying to collect an interesting group of people.
Yeah.
It's an interesting group. I think it's commendable lah for you guys to macam within degree untuk mencari orang-orang macam ni. It's not an easy thing lah. Macam macam you know, macam trying to approach these people. So I think it's a good job. Yeah. I mean other people punya talks later on akan interesting lah. So macam make use of that. Make use of asking them.
Who did we have during our time, huh? Do you guys remember?
For who? For what?
Who did we invite? I think we always had something going on in the Dewan Kuliah, right? But it was like
Itu pecah kucah bukan?
we had one pecah kucah, I think. Masa tu siapa?
Pecah kucah ramai juga macam, tapi masa tu mostly macam I ingat ada Syah, ada
Well, or something, yeah.
ada artis tak tahu siapa.
I don't remember. Yeah, but it was obviously it was physical lah kan.
Ya, physical lah.
Yeah. You know, budak-budak ni, I think budak-budak ni I think we've come a long way, like in terms of exposure and stuff.
Betul.
So yeah, it's good that all these people are accessible.
Tapi I would point out yang macam you guys punya generation should also continue on doing this beyond the classroom, beyond macam degree. Macam you guys should form your own groups, do discussion, create your own zine, create your own publication, you know. Macam I tak tahulah, tapi macam kebanyakan I perasan macam sadly to say Malays lah. I'm not sure, are we not interested in having a discourse? Macam a lot of macam people who are interested in macam yelah ada race Chinese lah especially kan, tapi macam I think we have to take an active pursuit lah in actually macam nak discuss pasal benda ni. Discuss santai pun tak apa, tapi macam at least something has to go on, you know? Something has to continue.
Yeah, I mean, I think it has to do with like, I think, you know, needing for more representation in a sense. I know it's not such like a prevalent issue so much, but actually macam betul juga. Like it's hard not to unsee it for both of us after we're here and like, you know, and who we are like conversing with or doing and knowing who are doing things. I mean, what's making like macam, you know, like orang Melayu kita ni macam shy to go and, you know, peddle your thing and be confident about what you do, you know, in a sense. And, you know, representation right now is a thing, you know, with like Blacks and Asians and like women in architecture, you know, like doesn't mean that you can't go and be there. Huh?
Betul, I say macam we need to be more represented, not just in terms of race lah, tapi in terms of kita diversity in thinking. Macam kita semua ada cara berfikir lain-lain. Tak semestinya there's only one. Takkanlah semua orang buat benda macam Seksan.
Yeah.
Macam that's not the only way to approach architecture. Macam there has to be other ways of approaching, other diverse ways you can engage with other people and have a healthy discussion surrounding the built environment.
I think, I mean, just to like, since we are like santai chatting now,
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
I don't know. Interject me, anyone. I know students probably are quite segan to interject, but malam ni tak apa. Exam dah habis kan, tak ada tolak markah. But I think it's, I really do agree with that, but I think it's more like, I don't know, this mindset of segan, of like, we have this tendency to like reserve our thoughts until we are forced to let it out. So I think until we are pressed, I think that pressing factor to always has to be there for us to like, you know, voice out, or, you know, but then by that time it wouldn't be as constructive probably. So yeah, let's keep this a culture lah. Maybe we can have like an Arkisa podcast or something after this. So we menyimbang, you know, a bit more chill.
Because I think design discussions have to be chill.
Yeah.
You cannot make it like so pseudo intellectual, so jargon heavy. Yang orang tak boleh nak respond kan. So
exactly. Betul. Especially when you're like trying to appeal to the general public, especially kan. Orang dengar kita, nanti you all upload ni kat YouTube kan. I think it's already there. I checked tadi. So you know, like people, you know, students in like Form 4, Form 5 are probably going to look up architecture UiTM, you know, what are they doing and so on. So I think we are like, let's make 2021, you know, that like we have to head towards that lah. InsyaAllah. Anyway, nanti IPM tepi pasal benda alumni tu
Boleh.
Anyway, I think I pass this on to
Hello.
Hi.
Talking about macam podcast tadi kan. I heard you guys been involved in macam Insya-Allah dulu kan ada sesi seni, is it?
Betul. Kami sebagai daripada sesi seni.
Yeah, we're one of the two.
We heard it before from our seniors and kita pun tak ada time tu kan. So can you share the journey of it?
Sesi seni macam group mengarut je.
Yeah, they feel experiment.
Dia macam a group of studio mates come together to create things outside of school lah. So we did macam public installation untuk macam lorong belakang section berapa lah, there's dua. That was so macam imagine macam getting your first paid job which is RM1,000 to create an installation to be shared by 15 people. So benda tu absurd lah, but tapi the interesting part is that that was the first taste of doing things not architecture related but has a relation to design and architecture, macam stage design, music stage, furniture design. So the group was quite large lah, 10 people. Tapi macam I think macam you guys macam that mesti ada group, so macam it's just that try and make the best of the years that you have lah in UiTM, because it's a really beneficial year for you young guys if you really use it. Kalau tak, it's gonna be a waste of your past lah, I think lah. I think UiTM has shaped me tremendously, not only within the school but outside the school. And I think it's important for you guys to know that it's not, dia tak penting tau sekolah mana you belajar. Yang penting how you make the use of it.
Yeah.
Kau belajar ke AA tapi kau pergi melancong tak ada kerja juga. Tak ada point juga. You pergi macam school macam Harvard GSD tapi you just macam relax je kan, tak buat design, semua sama juga. Yeah, and then a school is just a name now, you know. So you could be whatever you want. Motivasi pula.
Sam and Nadhrah. I don't think the early sesi seni tu is a fail lah.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's a process kot.
Yeah, mungkin lah.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah,
process. It's a process.
Step lah.
And I think it's good that macam it's a reflection juga. So that's why I mean you guys move on pergi apa ni no to scale kan. But I think it's good to share the early days lah kot sesi seni to the students sebab diorang tak ada apa ni during that time and then they know I mean this legendary group ni, so I think might as well you guys macam apa ni maybe ada satu session just to share I mean the starting of macam even karya ke apa macam it's different tau, starting dia different but maybe in process dia pun different and then dia punya outcome pun different. So I think it's good to share with the student lah kot especially.
Boleh macam if you guys are interested lah to listen to past stories.
At least someone tahu pasal sesi seni. I think it's a good way to start. I mean to share something lah kot.
Okay.
And apa ni through the session macam in my bedroom now. So macam gelak sorang-sorang tu I think it's a good session lah kot. Because it's not that serious and then I think for the student they will benefit a lot kot. I hope so.
Thank you, Ash. Thank you. Means a lot.
Thank you, Ash.
Okay, bye.
Because I think the documentation is really important sebab you guys buat benda tu kan. So so kita tak ada time tu tapi we can see through the documentation ni. So it's so powerful lah I think.
Oh, thank you.
And interesting.
We could do a sharing session. We could try and call on the old guys if they want to still talk about it.
Yeah, like sort of all over the place now.
Yeah. Ada Fazli Fuad pun sebahagian dia say
ada mix of artists is it?
Tak adalah dia macam I don't know macam young guys and girls wanna do creative stuff. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we would just probably not build something, within our means now, but something lah kan. Maybe we just wanted our architecture degree to mean something and what we learned and doing something fun. I guess macam time tu kan when you're young, you feel like you can do anything in a way. So in a way,
I'm adding to Aja. What's amazing about that period is that people dalam group tu jadi benda yang diverse.
Yeah, it's true.
It's amazing tu macam contoh siapa Syed antara orang kuat agak Syed jadi UX designer di Amsterdam sekarang. He's doing UX design for booking.com and then you have macam Dot doing graphic design, he's working as a graphic designer. Contoh macam Rabani dia join sesi seni mula dulu untuk buat stage Pita Hati and then dia sangkut sekarang dia jadi art director. So macam itu impian aku sebenarnya nak jadi art director. tapi Rabani jadi dulu. Tapi bagus lah kan macam benda tu macam you spark different things for different people. Macam you never know. Macam ini aku tak jadi buat director tapi I'm proud that he is an art director. So macam it's amazing when you hear UiTM punya senior becoming a lot of different things, I think. Macam maksudnya rezeki tu luas lah, terbuka lah. Macam kalau you tak jadi arkitek, jadi benda lain. Tapi you be the best at that thing lah.
Yeah, but the point is that you have to take the first step and do something about it. Or at least, I mean, time sesi seni tu, I think we were just probably using our own resources. We didn't macam guna duit sampai tak ada duit lah kan. But our friends had like macam a workshop, like kawan kita kat workshop kat Salam tu Haikal, he had a workshop and we just use his tools macam buat installation apa entah, just for fun. Macam ada lah design pondok dekat beach tu lah. I don't remember. It was like
true.
You remember that? Yeah, that one.
Yeah, we started joining events since macam daripada tu lah. So macam sebenarnya it's a continuation lah. Macam kita punya activity lah, no to scale tu dia bersambung lah. Yeah. Good question. Thank you, Alif. Daniel. Any other last questions sebelum kita selamat malam? But thank you for the session. I think the engagement has been very good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, same.
Takkanlah. Mana perempuan? Tak ada seorang perempuan lah.
Ada, tapi dia quiet. Selain Tini.
Tini tak kira lah.
Yelah, because she's lecturer.
Rasa mak.
Wait, please lah, seorang perempuan.
Yeah,
Tanya.
we're the girls.
Tu nampak tengah tersengih tu seorang tu.
Kalau segan dengan I, tanya aja.
Yeah, anything you don't want to say, you ask me. Like,
Hello.
hi.
Hi, my name is Alisa.
Hi.
I wanted to ask if you guys could like share a little bit more about since Sam said that UITM not only shaped you guys how you guys are now outside and also how you guys practice also. So I wanted to know a little bit more if you guys mind sharing.
Oh, boleh. Siapa you want to start first aja?
How UITM shaped me in a way?
Yeah.
Well, I guess I would more say about like it just happened to be like in the studio I'm in and the people I like, you know, my studio mates and the connections you meet and get. Kadang I think we were just macam normal architecture students like suka buat design and stuff like that, but you sort of have an interest to macam make stuff. I think we were quite lucky because our studio macam suka buat benda, even though it was like merepek ke apa, macam you ada kaki tau. So macam we just sort of like ride on that lah, macam buat in a sense. So I think that also, I would say that gave me when I went out, it also sort of gave me the confidence to macam layankan je, you know, macam layankan je buat benda. But in a way, it made me feel confident because it means that no one, even though like someone might crit or something, macam it's okay, like unless you're giving like a good criticism, then maybe I'll probably take it lah kan. So yeah, like Sam said, it made me resilient in a way too, and also like yeah, I think that's one of the biggest things, I think.
Yeah, I think resiliency lah in terms of giving you the confidence lah. Macam essentially kalau you macam your idea Shah Alam, I don't know how it is with Shah Alam lah, but Shah Alam was like macam raw. It was like a whole different experience where macam the architects were like raw and then macam the people were like brutal. So macam when you go to outside school when you go to outside places, okay, benda tu dia jadi macam it makes you resilient lah, macam alamak Saleh ni macam okay je lah dia kutuk kau, okay je. Macam layankan je lah kan, macam but we are resilient in a way, we know how to find resources, macam we know what's the cheapest way to do the best thing, macam itu resiliency. Macam contoh Mio. I'm sure you guys know lah Mio kan, yang lukis macam habuk tu kan.
I think they will know Farah kot.
And Farah L. So kan diorang kan, Mio dia pergi Butler. Of course lah, macam everyone is paying for expensive material to do models kan. Tapi dia pakai kertas je. Dia pakai kertas, dia lukis kau kan. Tapi dia maximum kan. So macam I realize that we are really good at trying to find efficient ways of doing things to the max. And benda tu carry on lah. If you look into GDP, macam certain teams banyak budak-budak UITM sebab the culture of design is there. So macam it's not a bad thing, you know. Macam you just have to embrace certain things and then be willing to learn. Yeah, be willing to accept juga that macam you don't have to macam always macam hope for something else. Macam you could just make the best out of your situation in your UITM. Because itu je reality you ada. You nak macam hope macam bukan best kalau aku dekat sini kan. Buat apa? Tak ada point.
Yeah, it's like working with what you have lah, in a sense, and trying to make the best out of that situation. If any, I mean, like, you know, after you graduate, you could probably like pursue fully apa yang you nak buat tu, or whatever it is, like where you want to study and all that. Because in the end, it's still a ticket to macam wherever it is, in a way. So,
yeah.
And, you know, actually overseas, Malaysian students are, or at least in our experience of Greenwich, actually the Malaysian students are known to be the most hardworking in a way.
For Malaysian student kat Greenwich tip.
Yeah. Like I'm not kidding. Like macam within my unit, my tutor. I mean, that's actually unfortunately it's like it's a good thing. But I think actually that's one of the reasons like one of my tutors decided to hire me, like to part-time work with him, because like I was like okay, macam I layankan je macam apa dia nak, like, you know, it was a bit crazy but not too crazy lah, because mak saleh they don't work too hard, but they're not it's not their usual. So
Ya, dia bukan macam Asian. So macam Asian macam sanggup.
yeah.
Dia macam dah pukul 5 lah. Oi, kena balik lah.
Yeah. So I think yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
I have one last question, if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure.
So is it how do I say it? What you learned in your circle of friends also affected how you think now and how you approach architecture now. Is it okay to say that?
Yeah.
Circle of friends influencing how we think, is it? Yeah.
And how you guys practice architecture, like with no to scale and also in GDP.
Answer first.
I wouldn't say like how I work in GDP, because GDP is like in a normal architecture office. You know, you have to do, you know, building and take it as, for me it's training lah. So macam I would say like betul-betul like myself, right, for no to scale acting designer, circle friends. Yeah, in a way, I guess you could, you know, maybe especially like the ones that are also trying to be aspiring designers, macam what they're trying to do, it does like push me juga, like semangat lah, macam bila you tengok macam like contoh like my friend like Tamata, and she's technically our friend, and it's nice to see that, and she's solo, you know, she's a solo female designer in Malaysia, and she quit her job like in architecture practice because she believed that she already like rasa practice too, and then but she felt that macam maybe macam that's not her thing. Not to say that bukan it's not the right thing, but cuma like it's just not for her, you know. And bila I think dia macam kuat macam tu, like doing her own thing, I feel, you know, motivated lah. And I feel that way also with other fellow designers around me or architects or whatever.
Yeah, I think your peers is important.
Yes, of course. Oh, I think Simon stopped. I think it's like about like surrounding.
Yeah, so I realized when you like later on in life lah, macam you need friends to keep you active in terms of macam the topics you discuss lah, macam of course lah you have a lot of friends, tapi macam don't stop connecting, macam keep on finding interesting people, keep on going out there, keep on connecting with like-minded. Macam of course you have your sekolah, kawan daripada sekolah kan, and then you have your kawan daripada uni, and then you have kawan dorm. Tapi that doesn't mean yang macam you cannot make new friends, macam new networking, new relationship kan. Benda tu penting when you go on into your working life, because that will prolong you punya mental inquisitiveness lah, and then your capacity untuk drive tu will tahan much longer if you have a group of people who is like-minded.
Yeah.
Lah, macam kalau you lepak dengan hipsters lah you. So I mean ni lah tu macam ni lah, tapi macam yeah, I think it really affects. Thanks.
Okay, thank you so much guys.
Thank you. Yeah, I think it was a good session. If anything else you guys want to DM, please DM.
Just feel free to ask us.
Yeah, feel free to ask. Yeah.
So, if there are aren't any more questions left from the audience, first, I, of course, would like to thank you guys very much, Sam and Nadhrah, for the the wonderful and this insightful talk. It was, of course, packed with a lot of information. There were a lot of stuff that we got from it, motivation, and I also want to thank everyone for the questions asked, and Sam and Nadhrah for helping us understand the bigger picture of architecture and explain a few unanswered subjects.
Yours. Thank you very much for having us. Thank you, UiTM. Thank you to the teachers that taught us. Thank you to the friends who are now teachers.
Thank you for spending Saturday night with us.
Thank you for spending Saturday night.
Hello, Sam. Hello, Nadhrah.
How are you?
Hello.
You remember me?
Of course.
Yeah, we met.
What do you remember most?
Metallica.
I was being harsh.
Metallica.
Metallica.
Oh, itu je ke yang you ingat? Astagfirullahaladzim.
Tak ada. I appreciate the stern motherliness that you gave.
That makes you resilient now, huh?
Resilient, yes, definitely.
Yeah. Well, it may be tough here, but it creates a very strong foundation for you guys to make it perhaps not just in architectural practice, because architecture is a very diversified fields that you can venture. You can be an architectural photographer, you can be, I don't know, there's so many opportunities out there. So I'm very happy to see you guys enjoying your work, channeling your creativity, enthusiasm, and and sharing your experience with your juniors. So yeah, it's good to see. Nadhrah, I remember you and your Macintosh computer. All right. So well done. I wish you all the best in your future.
Thank you.
More projects to come.
Hopefully we'll see you soon in real life.
Can catapult you into global scenario, perhaps.
I mean,
I'm going towards the sunset next year. I painting, so I wish me all the best too. I might be a YouTuber after this.
Wait, that's a good idea.
Find a new hobby. I'm sick of maybe something related to architecture, fashion designer, perhaps. You never know. You never know.
You never know.
Yeah. Okay, Sam. I remember your shoes, and Nadhrah, I remember your Macintosh. All the best. Bye.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Sorry. So yeah, I guess this marks the end of our session for today. I would like to take this time to thank you all for joining us for this evening's talk. I would like to thank mostly our speakers, of course, Sam and Nadhrah, for giving us the opportunity to have an inspiring sharing session with you guys. So for more updates and info regarding the schedule of the Checkmate Architecture Review, and also regarding the future Archi-talks, you can visit our Instagram page at Nadhrah Studio, which will be linked in the chat box. And also there you can find other regarding information about the review. So no worries, there's still plenty in store for everyone. Again, thank you very much for joining this evening session. It pains me to bid farewell, but we hope to see you guys again in the future talks.
No worries. Thank you
All
guys.
right, no worries.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Selamat malam.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Talk soon. Assalamualaikum.
Salam.
Out.
Goodbye, guys.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
All the best.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you everybody.
Thank you, Madam Anis.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you, Cik Len, for joining this evening's talk.
My pleasure.